Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Families in Flat Rock, they're still out of their homes tonight after a gasoline leak at the Flat Rock Ford assembly plant. This man says that's a leak that should never have happened.
If anything leaked, it should have set off the alarm.
And he should know he installed the lines.
Our weekend weather is shaping up nicely for folks craving another taste of summer. Brandon's updated forecast in just moments.
Big part of President Biden's new COVID action plan involves big event venues like Ford Field and the LCA. But will any of them actually start asking for proof of vaccination at the door? We start things off tonight at 6 with today's coronavirus developments.
New numbers from the state shows the highest case count since late April. State reports more than 6,095 new cases in the past 48 hours. We've lost 59 Michiganders to the virus during that same time period, 44 from a review of vital records.
On the vaccine front, the state's vaccination rate is at 66.4%. Hasn't moved much in quite a while. Pfizer BioNTech reportedly preparing to present the results of its study on 5 to 11-year-olds to health authorities around the world in the coming weeks. Pfizer seeking approval for the vaccine for those 5 years of age and older.
There's a big question facing entertainment venues today. Should they require patrons show their vaccination card at the door? That's a request President Biden made in his address outlining his new COVID action plan.
It would be a massive and sudden change for a lot of Detroit venues, including Ford Field, where the Lions open their season this weekend. Larry Spruill's been checking in with the people who run the big venues. What are we hearing, Larry?
Well, Devin and Kimberly, this could be huge changes for a lot of the venues here tonight. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You have the LCA right over there. That's where the Pistons and Red Wings play. Fox Theater, a lot of plays and concerts over there. Comerica Park, they are having a game tonight. Ford Field right behind there. But don't forget about the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. They are also reacting to the decision tonight.
You said those are how much?
$25 each.
I'll take 4.
It's a steady line of customers at the box office here at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater Friday.
My best available is row CC in section 800.
Many ready for the remainder of the summer concert series.
I'm ecstatic. Yes, that was the most thing I was missing about COVID, is going out and going to concerts.
But this week, President Joe Biden made a strong recommendation for entertainment venues.
Those of you running large entertainment venues, from sports arenas to concert venues to movie theaters, please require folks to get vaccinated or show a negative test as a condition of entry.
Here in Detroit, he's talking about places like Little Caesars Arena, Comerica Park, Ford Field, and the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, just to name a few.
We think that it's important to support the President of the United States.
But Shahida Mousy with the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater says it would be difficult for her venue to enforce this rule now.
We support his determination to get the country past COVID-19. We, as an outdoor venue with tickets that have been on sale for several months, have been encouraging people to get vaccinated.
Sunday is the home opener for the Detroit Lions.
We're going to continue to follow the lead of local and state health officials here in the state of Michigan and adjust our guidelines, as we see fit. At this point, we do not have a vaccine requirement for fans to enter Ford Field.
And I also reached out to Olympia Entertainment. They operate Little Caesars Arena over here. I was told I was going to get a statement, but I have not heard back just yet. We are live in downtown Detroit tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
Now, of course, Larry, the college football season is already underway. 2 venues in Michigan and Michigan State that are outdoors, but that are so crowded with such massive crowds. What are we hearing there?
Well, Devin, I reached out to both of those universities. Michigan says they are not going to change anything right now. As far as Michigan State University, they also say that they will be re-evaluating their COVID protocols.
Yeah. All right, Larry.
Well, the president's vaccine mandate is still reverberating around the country. Local governments are now watching and waiting to find out how it's going to work and what part they will play in it. Local 4's Rod Maloney is live in Farmington Hills tonight with a look at that part of the story. Rod?
Yeah, Kimberly, let's start at the top here in Michigan. Governor Gretchen Whitmer saying that essentially what she wants to do is to wait and see what OSHA comes up with for their rules. But in the meantime, she is encouraging and in fact pleading with Michiganders to go out and get get the vaccination as soon as they possibly can as the way to protect themselves. But on the flip side of that coin, well, there are a lot of people very unhappy. President Joe Biden said last December,
No, I don't think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand to be mandatory, but I would.
Yet 9 months later, he's changed his mind, and it's not sitting well with many Michigan lawmakers. In Livingston County, it's likely the county commission will vote to push back on the president's actions next week. An anti-mandate resolution from Commissioner Mitchell Zajac saying, quote, Livingston County will not comply with President Biden's unconstitutional OSHA mandate, end quote.
Government is stepping into the private lives of citizens and trying to enforce or make them do different things as it relates to their personal health choices.
Zajac admits the federal government doesn't have purview over Michigan's government employers or employees, but still he wants it known.
To the extent that the mandate says track, monitor, enforce compliance with this vaccine policy from the president, the instruction from a resolution that passes the Board of Commissioners would be that that does not take place.
In the legislature, Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey is surprised anyone can be on board with the president here.
It doesn't really matter, Rod, where somebody lands on the political spectrum. Everybody should be concerned and alarmed by this kind of action from a president.
He's aiming particular scorn at the governor.
And the actual person that needs to stand up and not parrot, but protect the rights of citizens of Michigan is our governor.
All right, so we put in calls to, let's see here, Macomb, Wayne, Oakland County, the county executives there, the administrator in Livingston County, and everybody is saying, look, we don't know enough yet. We're going to be looking into what it is precisely that OSHA is going to be saying here before we can make any determination about what this means to any of the local governments. Back to you.
Rod, what about the city of Detroit? What are they saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, the mayor's been out of town for a bit. They said he came back today, and he didn't really want to weigh in too because he too wants to see what's there. Yeah. But there is the belief in the mayor's office that this might just be a way to convince people to go out and get vaccinated, and they certainly hope that that takes place.
Yeah. Everybody's watching and waiting to see what happens. Okay, Rod, thanks.
Well, summer-like temperatures going to return as we head into the weekend.
Yeah, Brandon, it should be mostly dry too, you say, right?
I think 80 to 90% of our weekend, guys, looks really good. And that return to summer, it's been a tough summer with just monster storms breaking things up and hard to get a stretch of really classic summer weather. But we do have some coming back. In the meantime, it's a lot like fall out there. Low, middle 70s all over southeastern lower and southern Ontario. Northwest winds are shifting to the southwest, and they'll really start cranking up tomorrow, bringing in warm temperatures. But great football weather tonight. Temps will be falling into the 60s. Light jacket, sweatshirt weather perhaps. Overnight down to 58, so very pleasant. Then we start to warm. We've got 80s flirting with feels like 90s in the 7-day, and one little hiccup for the weekend to discuss coming up.
All right, Brandon. New developments in Flat Rock over the gas leak near Ford's assembly plant. Testing on the city's sewers and schools continues today. Testing the air quality in homes is next. Sources are telling Local 4 inspectors from Lara were at the plant and found the fuel system poses an immediate environmental hazard. And with that finding, the fuel system is closed, or red tagged, as they put it. 1,100 homes remain evacuated, and there is no timetable right now for when residents can return. New tonight, we're hearing from the man who personally installed the gas line in question under the Ford Flat Rock assembly plant. He tells Local 4 defender Sean Lay something doesn't add up about the amount of fuel leaked and the lack of a quick response.
Well, good evening from New Boston. We're exactly 3 miles away from the Ford Flat Rock assembly plant. This is where we tracked down Jerry Clark. He was in charge of installing the gasoline pipes and tanks in the Ford assembly plant. And he says when there was a leak, an alarm should have immediately gone off.
I've been a pipe viewer for 43 years. I worked 110,000 man hours. I run just about every big job in Michigan and Wayne County.
Jerry Clark was shocked when a leak in a gasoline line at the Ford Flat Rock assembly plant somehow found its way from the plant and into Flat Rock's sewer system. Clark says he installed the fiberglass gas lines at the plant years ago that looked just like these lines, saying the pressurized pipeline is buried about 4 feet deep and is double-walled, built to never leak, as gas is pumped into the plant to fill up new cars. After years of use, there was a leak, but an alarm should have alerted Ford right away.
If anything leaked, it should have set off the alarm. It would be like having an alarm in your house. Somebody breaks in, the alarm goes off.
Clark wants to know how long the leak allowed gasoline to escape and wind up letting off toxic benzene fumes inside homes in Flat Rock. Ford says they found the leak the day after state inspectors were in the plant last Wednesday. It took an anonymous tip to send those inspectors back in.
When I was there, there's only one place you could get gasoline. It was over the pit. Now, if they had a leak some other place to do that much damage, it's hard to believe. I don't understand it, because if it's a tank leaked or the piping into the building leaked, that was negligence on somebody's part.
Now, Clark also tells us he's very surprised so much gasoline could leak from a pipe and head back into the town of Flat Rock through the sewer system, turning so many lives upside down right now. In New Boston, Sean Lee, Local 4.
Okay, Sean, thank you. A car is stolen for a very strange reason in Birmingham, and the person who did it clearly wanted to make things right. The bizarre circumstances just ahead here at 6.
Also, here's Tim Pamplin.
9/11, a date etched in America's psyche.
Clearly, we're under attack.
Today, I sat down with Sheriff Bouchard and we discussed the convoy we took. And we hear from the sheriff from then and now. Coming up.